Okay, welcome everybody to the August 28th Technical Advisory Council meeting for the LF Decentralized Trust. As you are all aware, I know you've all been on a call before, but two things that we have to abide by. The first is our antitrust policy. So we just need to be aware of and not participate in any activities that are prohibited under any of the antitrust and competition laws across the world. The second thing that we have to abide by is our code of conduct. While all are welcome here, it's important that we follow the code of conduct, which is linked in the agenda. So basically, we need to be respectful of others on the call, their thoughts and ideas, and we should all get along just fine. For announcements today, we have the standard Dev Weekly developer newsletter that goes out each Friday. If you do have something that you would like to include in that newsletter, please do leave a comment for consideration on the wiki page here that is linked in the agenda. The second thing that I have here is just a note that we did approve by email the vote to allow TAC members to approve lab proposals. So just another thing for you to take a look at some point is any sort of lab proposals that might come in that you're interested in approving. Feel free to do that. You now have the ability to do that. I think I haven't done it yet, and I don't know if you have either, but we do need to make sure that they are added to the list of reviewers, the TAC members, just
I have not
so
done
that
that. I will do it now.
Okay, great. Thanks, Rye. All right. Any other announcements that anybody has or would like to make today? No? Okay. So then for quarterly reports, these are the reports that have come in. I think there were actually a few other ones that ended up coming in after I had put together the agenda. So, do take a look and see if there are any quarterly reports that you haven't yet reviewed. In the pull request for the governance repo of the LF Decentralized Trust organization. And if you haven't, please do have a look at those and either approve or leave a comment as you see fit. Any questions, concerns about the quarterly reports? I know that Arun did mention to me that he did get some positive reports from the likes of Trust over IP, Fabric, and Solang. And so I think, some of those you actually do see listed here. I did notice that there was a couple that came in yesterday that I, like I said, didn't make it in the links here, but definitely are available for us to have a look at. Rama.
Yeah, on the quarterly reports, should we wait for the maintainers to update the format and also add entries to make docs before approving, or should we just go ahead and approve?
Yeah, I think I've made that comment on every report. So if anybody, and I said, changes requested. So if anybody else wants to go ahead and review those without that and approve it, that's fine. Because we'll catch it with my particular review. So yeah, I'm happy if other people approve if they're happy with everything else.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Is there a link to the Trust over IP report? I thought I saw something float by on GitHub, but then I couldn't find it a second time. So
I haven't specifically seen it unless it came in between today and when I went to bed last night.
No, I didn't see it either.
Yeah,
okay.
I think Arun just got some positive sort of feedback on GitHub, or not GitHub,
Okay.
Discord. And that's what he was mentioning. So hopefully we'll see it soon, Diane.
Okay.
All right. Any other comments or questions about the reports? Okay, if not, then we can go back to the agenda. And I think the thing for us to look at is the defining adopters PR. That's the one major thing on the schedule for today. So we can have a look at that. We did make some changes to that since the last time that we discussed this. This will also have to be updated to make docs, and I was working on that right before this call. So I'll take care of that before we obviously merge it, but we did add an introduction section to this document so that people know what adopters are and why it matters and why it's important to keep track of. We also added a few others kind of reworks and additions to the document, specifically around the definitions. We added information about the LFDT end users that was referenced in the document. And then we also added some information on specifically what it would take as far as a template, or at least information about what we expect to see in the adopters file. So that has been all added to the document. I think that Rama, you had a question in the pull request specifically on that section, which was around what do we do with things like proof of concepts and pilots? Do those go in there? And then secondly, if a adopter is really no longer adopting it because something has fallen through or whatever, what do we do? Do we move them to some sort of emeritus or previous adopters sort of section in the document? So I think those were the comments that you had specifically around that. And this one is, yeah, the piece on the proof of concept. So did you want to add anything else to that, Rama, or should we talk about that?
Nope.
Okay.
We can discuss what people
All right. Yeah. So any thoughts on, let's start with the whether or not we want things like proof of concepts to be included in the adopters file. Diane?
I think it's a great thing to call out, Rama. There's always a possibility of adding a column in the table for adopters that says that it's a POC or a pilot. But experimental usage is another way to reference this. We often have things that go stale, POCs or pilots that don't make it to production. So it's a good way to call it out. Or maybe just eliminate POCs and pilots. I mean, it's really up to this group. Or actually maybe not up to this group, but to the project itself, whether or not it wants those listed. So maybe we leave it to the project and their creation of the table that is the adopters file. Other thoughts? That wasn't a clear answer, Rama, so apology. It's a great point. I've seen it happen before, so and that they never get archived or turned into emeritus.
Yeah. No, thanks. I agree with you. And generally, I'm fine with leaving these decisions to the maintainers.
Do we want to call it? Oh, Peter, sorry.
No worries. I just wanted to also plus one that we could leave it to the maintainers because it's such a flexible thing to define. And also, even if an adopter disappeared, went out of business, whatever, the fact that they did try to use it is still there, and that is never going away, and it counts in my mind. If I'm evaluating the project, at least I see that there was something happening.
Okay, maybe I'll throw my 2 cents in here. If we look at what we have in the common repository structure, which does define what we expect adopters to have, It says contains a list of notable usages of projects releases and or source code, must contain publicly verifiable references in the form of URLs or article info, and can be updated by maintainers as well as adopters, or any third party who's aware of adoption and provides verifiable links. So I think that I don't know what we mean for notable. So, I think as long as we specify that, the maintainers can decide, then, what is a notable reference, then that's fine. I would hazard to say that potentially some of those things that we might think are proof of concepts may not have that publicly verifiable reference in the form of URLs or article info. So I think we just need to be, aware of and not, conflict with what we have in the common repository structures governance document. And if we want to change that, that's fine. So yeah, I think those are the key pieces to how we have this all defined. Rama?
Yeah, sorry. I think I was the one who wrote that notable sentence
Yeah.
in the. So, I think what I was thinking was we should have a mention of something that some real world entity used, and it's not like if somebody used it for their class project or something. I think that's kind of what I was thinking.
Okay.
Also, for POCs, like there's one specific example. We had the Bank of France showcase a POC based on the Weaver Labs code back in the last JS in 2022. So like that's an example of I think it was a notable POC, but of course it was also something that did not go to production, at least has not gone yet. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you don't think then that it would conflict with the common repository structure information if we were to say that POCs and pilots can be added based on, the discretion of the maintainers?
Yeah, I mean, in some cases, if it's actually an important entity like a major bank or a government, say that's using that even for a POC, it might be good advertisement for that project. So
yeah,
we
okay.
can leave it to the maintainers, and we can remove the word notable from that if you want. Just a word choice.
Or define it better. E.g., not a class project. Okay, any objections to pilots or POCs being included at the maintainer's discretion?
None for me.
All right. So then that brings up the second question here that Rama has, which is related to what happens when adoption goes defunct, it's no longer in use. Do we leave that in the adopters file, but move it to a separate section? How do we handle that, and do we want to make sure we call that out in the in this pull request? Any thoughts on that?
Sorry, I was on mute. I was talking to myself. If we could leave it in governance for now, and once we get to the maybe the contributors website gets a little bit more flushed out, and perhaps has a section in it for coaching maintainers, we could move it there. But wait, just keep it here for a holding pattern.
Keep what specifically here? Keep this is a question around adopters moving in the adopters file itself, having a separate section for for emeritus or defunct sorts of uses.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I misunderstood the question.
Okay.
Sorry.
I think from my side here, Tracy, I think it's quite hard to keep an adopters files of maybe projects now no longer using like that specific project, for example, because you might have multiple version releases. Like maybe some people are using Fabric V2 and then they stop using Fabric V2 and you only want to keep latest Fabric adopters for V3. I don't know. Yeah, I understand the question because it's kind of like you have maintainers and emeritus maintainers, and it's kind of modeling that to adopters, but I think it's a lot harder to manage. And which one did they use, which version, how? I think just keeping a current list of adopters seems simple for me, especially for maintainers.
Yeah, so you
Any
think
thoughts?
you think it would be difficult to find the ones that aren't current, and so therefore they remain in the list.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm hearing? Or because at the end you
Uh,
said keeping a list of current ones, which implies that somehow those that aren't current anymore are getting removed.
And when you remove them, like keeping a version of which like version of the project they were using. I don't know. I think you'd ask a lot of questions of why they stopped using it, and I think it just gives more tax to maintainers, in my opinion.
Yeah. Other thoughts? I mean, I agree. It sounds like a good idea, Rama, to have this emeritus section or whatever we want to call it. But I do think, as Enrique says, it may be hard to know which ones are no longer valid or in use or whatever we want to call it. So, it may be very difficult for, if we say do know one that's been no longer in use, is no longer in use, and we move that one to this other section, it may imply that all the other ones are still current, and they may or may not be based on, what is known and what's not known. Rama?
Right, sure. I agree with what you and Enrique said. So should we sort of have a soft requirement that when the maintainers get to know about an adopter going defunct, they're supposed to remove that entry from this file? Or is it okay if they retain it? I guess that was my primary question when I was asking this.
I actually don't know. I think in some scenarios it's kind of like a marketing play. I think it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this specific company or project used my tool at some point in the past, and they're a really big company, so I'm gonna just leave it there even though they're no longer using it. So it's, I don't know. It depends a lot on how the maintainers want to manage that, but I think there should be a text here that should say that the adopters have all the right to remove their name from the adopters MD. So
I think that,
yeah, go ahead, Dan.
I would agree with that, and make a pull request if they're dead. It might be something that we do for a project when we're doing a quarterly report too, is that we check the adopters file for freshness. But then, yeah, it's debatable. Sometimes it's a historical thing too. So maybe, who knows, the Federal Reserve Board used BESU for a period of time. That might be relevant. I don't know. But if we make it empower the adopter to remove themselves, which they could anyways, I think that allows for the people to back themselves out of the adopter file.
Yeah, exactly.
So Tracy, I'd be not adverse to having that wording put in. I'm not sure if you can wordsmith that in quickly so that we can move this forward.
Yeah, I don't know about quickly, but yeah, I think definitely we can make an addition to the document around that. Yeah.
it's all a good conversation, because as we go through our quarterly reports on this, one of the things we should look at is the adopters file, if there is one, and make sure that it's up to date and exists, and also not totally stale.
Okay. So that sounds like a change that we'll need to make. I think the agreement here is that we need a sentence or so about an adopter being able to remove themselves from the adopter file at any point that they wish to. All right. Anything else on this particular PR? I think that was the only comment that I saw come in from folks, but is there anything else that we should be talking about specifically to this PR? No. Okay. So, but besides that, it sounds like we're all in agreement with the contents. All right, there's definitely lots of thumbs up coming there. So I think that the next steps for this will be to make that change, and then and maybe if we can vote on this by approving the PR and getting enough approvals that we can actually merge it, that would be the next steps. So I can work on that after the call, and just basically at the TAC and the PR when it's ready to go, and ask for people to just approve or decline on the PR.
And Tracy, if in the contributor ladder meeting you want to work on that sentence, we can add that to the agenda
Okay.
in a half an hour after this one.
Yep. Yep. All right. Anything else on this PR before we move forward? No. Okay. So then the other item on the agenda here that I had was just getting some updates from our task forces to see how things are going. See if there's anything that needs to be brought to the attention of the TAC at this point. So I think Project Consistency Task Force, Matthew, maybe I'll hand that off to you and see if you have any updates for the TAC.
Thanks, Tracy. Yeah. Yeah, we had another session on that on Friday. That was myself and Enrique and Char. Oh, sorry. Jessica, sorry. Wrong name. My bad. Sorry, Jessica. And especially appreciate her joining at such an early time on, I think, Pacific time. We had a really good kind of discussion where we updated the wiki that we've been working to, where we've been jotting down notes from the meetings. I will put that link in the Zoom chat just as a reminder. One thing that came out of that was thinking about considering what the I guess the so that or for whom the different areas of consistency are for, because we found ourselves talking about some areas of consistency being for particular particular personas, like some of them might be for the benefit of the LFT itself, some of them will be for the benefit of project maintainers, some of them will be for the benefit of project users and consumers. So that was where we spent a bunch of our time. I'll write up some of the notes in a bit more detail. We're working on an active document. So I'm going to do some admin on that document ahead of the next call, which is next Friday, not tomorrow, but the week after. And yeah, it felt like a useful call, and welcome anyone else who wants to join it next Friday.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you, Matthew. Any questions for Matthew? No? Okay. So then the other task force that we have going on right now is the contributors ladder. Diane, did you want to provide an update?
Well, not really at this time. We have just gotten started, and I think we have created a space for work in um, the the LFDT labs. So thank you to Ryan, everyone who got that done. And we have some draft work that we're going to take a look at probably today, and then figure out how to structure and collaborate on the content. And we're moving slowly but good.
Yeah, and I'll just add, I put a link in the chat. This is our current kind of initial
Yeah.
page. Obviously, lots of work to be done. This just got put together yesterday. But as you can see, there's a link to our GitHub. It's a lab, so if anybody has anything that they think would be useful to add to that, or creating issues or even pull requests, I think it's open for that. So. And if there's any other topics that you think would be useful to have on a contributor site besides kind of these top 4 items, let us know, and we'll make sure to create some info on those as well. Okay. And as Diane mentioned, I think Diane earlier, you mentioned that we have a call in like an hour. If anybody's interested in joining that call, please do join that call.
All right.
Peter?
Just wanted to apologize for my participation being terrible on those meetings. The new job is quite busy for now, and I was struggling to find a time because there's always a conflicting meeting. But I will try to be prepared.
But we can also adjust the time too. I think Arun has had some conflicts as well. So let's chat about it in the Discord. And if we need to adjust the time or go to bi-weekly, if that helps, I'm fine with that too.
Okay.
Congratulations, Peter, on the new job.
Thank you.
Okay, that's actually our agenda for today. Is there any other topics that anybody would like to discuss today? Quiet group this morning, so I'll take that as a no. So we'll go ahead and close out today's meeting, and I will figure out what we'll talk about next week. I'm not sure what that will be, but we'll figure it out, or we'll cancel if nothing comes up. But I hope everybody has a great week.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.